When were you going to tell me about the yacht?
It was coming.
I didn't get no invitation.
It was coming.
Okay.
It's new, right? So you'll be invited, believe me.
Well, let me ask you something now. I've known you a long time, and you know I can read people well. Are you really happy?
Well, Joe, you know, I've never really been able to pull the wool over your eyes, even before you left here, so there's no sense trying now. And a lot of things are going well, but I've got a problem. I mean, it seems like I ought to be happy and fulfilled given how everything's going, but the truth is, Joe, I just don't feel fulfilled.
You know, I've been there, and you know I struggled with that back in the 90s, and you know, I think we might have a solution for you today. And if you're up for it, I'd like to show you a trick.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'm up for anything to help.
Let's take a walk. Take a walk on the wild side. Actually, let me grab this first. There's a glass. Now, if you can pull this off, you'd be almost as good as my students. So let's see what we can do.
As good as your students.
You see this glass?
Yes.
It's an ordinary glass. There's no magic to it. What I'd like you to do is take this napkin. See this hole?
Yes.
I want you to push this glass through the napkin, but you cannot tear the napkin. Once you tear the napkin, it's game over.
Sure.
What's your title again? What is your position?
Oh, I'm the CEO. You say your students can do this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Hey, where's Obi? Hey, Obi, you want to come up and show them how to do this? You think you can outthink the thinker?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try.
All right, give it a whirl.
Would this be?
So now I said to push the glass through the hole,
right,
without tearing the napkin.
Good job, Obi.
Good job. Now, Craig.
Yes.
Obi's learned something very special, how to outthink the thinker. And the idea is this, as you're going to see in the next movie clip, the goal of, at least in my courses, is to teach students how to think outside the box. And it's a very important goal. Now, Obi, how do you feel about that goal? Have we achieved it so far? And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes.
May I come in?
If you bend your medial collateral ligaments, place one talus in front of another, I don't see where you'd have a problem. Of course, if there were a news story covering this event, the headline might read, "Small brain enters room."
Fingers. What's the answer?
Oh, you're another one of those bright young fellows who always know the right answer, huh? Welcome to real life. You can't see the solution. Never focus on the problem. Look at me. How many do you see? Now, look beyond the fingers. How many do you see?
Eight.
Eight. Yes. Eight's a good answer. See what no one else sees. See what everyone else chooses not to see. Out of fear, conformity, and laziness. whole world anew each day. Now, the truth is, you're well on the way. You didn't see something here besides a crazy, bitter old man. You wouldn't have come in the first place.
What do you see when you look at me, Arthur?
You fixed my cup. I'll see you around. Patch.
Well, Craig, my goal today was to surprise you. And we're going to set you up via live interactive video so that you can be part of a lecture that I need to get down to Pembroke. So can I borrow your private jet?
Oh, absolutely. Anything.
Obi, would you like to go on a private jet? Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Now you made me happy. I don't know about fulfilled, but I'm pretty happy right now.
All right, great.
So we're going to go down and we're going to get this thing started. We're going to set you up so you can watch it. And I promise you, by the end of this lecture, we will have a very good solution to the 4 fingers.
Okay, well listen, you guys head on out and I'll call them and the plane will be ready when you get there.
Now we'll be ready when I'm done because I like to fly back to New York for a little while.
Absolutely.
Okay, good, because I like to see you.
At your beck and call.
All right, good deal. All right, Obi, let's get rolling. Come on.
All right.
Good job. Thank you.
No problem.
What I'd like to focus on today is a series of life lessons that God has taught me through my experiences and the things that He has challenged me to go through. And when somebody says the old cliche, God only gives you that which you can handle, He only puts on your plate that which you can handle. Many of you feel like, and I know the feeling, your plate is overfilled, it's cracked, and you want a new plate. And what we need to focus on is, how do you get through those moments in your life? And I think I have some answers. And they're not my answers. They're answers that I think God gave me. Getting to the core is something most, if not all, of my students struggle to do on a daily basis. To figure out who they are as a person. Okay? To match who they are and what they're going to be and what they're going to do in life. And several of you have reached out to me over the course of the past few years. And I want to hone in and turn this lecture around so that it focuses on you, because that's where the focus should be. Okay? Getting to the core means this. In your lifetime, as you can see on this screen, you're going to have things coming after you, challenges. Whether it's someone who might be controlling in your life, a parent who you want to make very proud, to possibly do something that you're not passionate about, but possibly to do something to make them proud, and yet you struggle with it in your core because you're not really happy, you're not fulfilled, just like Craig isn't fulfilled. And you're going to need to stand up and get strong and say, look, this is what I am passionate about, and this is what I want to do, and I need your support. Yesterday, I went to the funeral of a former student. And there are going to be moments in this lecture where I probably will get choked up. He was 25 years old. And when I was standing outside waiting for the family to come out after the funeral was over, I listened to his classmates. And they didn't know I was hearing them. And it was mostly guys, because it was a young man that died. He was going to propose at Easter. And his fiancée was a wreck. And the young men that were his friends, his best friends, were saying, I'm scared out of my mind because he's the same age as I am. And that is scary. And that's when the core starts to get attacked. Okay? It is very, very scary. When I left that funeral, I went to a store to buy some things for today. And there was a woman at the cashier who had 2 black eyes and blood scars all over her face from the night before. And I have represented individuals like that in cases for the past 15 years. But when I looked at her, her core is crushed. how do you recover from that? How do you recover from those lows in life? So what I'm going to do is share the experiences of some of my students who I call friends, and let you figure it out as we go, because I don't always give the solutions up front. And then at the end, I will hammer home the solution, and hopefully it all makes sense. When you look at a piano, or when I look at a piano, I see white keys, black keys, and a box of wood. And it looks pretty nice. I could never make that box of wood. My grandfather could make a piano as beautiful as that. When I sit down to play the piano, I'll give you a perfect example. When I was in college, I was in a piano class. There were 5 of us. The teacher would play and stop, and we were supposed to finish the song in tune. 4 of them could, and I could not. Okay? I would love to play the piano, but it's not my thing. And that is your struggle. All of you feel like you have to have this amazing, amazing, special thing about you. And you don't realize that you do. It just may not be Beethoven. So when you look at a piano and you see what I see, it ain't your thing. And let me give you an example of some students. First one is Randy. Randy was a student here 3 years ago. And Randy wanted to major in accounting. He felt like he had the mindset. And the first day I met Randy, he was standing outside my classroom, listening in, because his next class was in my classroom. And after a couple weeks, he said, "Can I sit in your class?" I said, "For no credit?" He said, "Yeah, it's kind of entertaining." I said, "Okay." We got to know each other. Then I got to know what his core was, who he was as a person, which I will define a little more as we go, okay, for you. But Randy had some deep passions. He had this dream of having his own restaurant and being a chef. But he was hooked into accounting, which wasn't a bad thing. It was something where he had the mindset to do accounting. Okay, he was analytical and liked numbers. Okay, and he liked processes, which is good because when you're running a restaurant, you need to have good processes in order, and you need to make sure that kitchen is run very, very efficiently. In addition, you're also held to a lot of regulations in running a kitchen. Okay? He didn't realize that being an accountant and a chef, he thought they didn't go together, and they actually did, because I threw in the kicker. I said, what if you owned your own restaurant, were a chef, and did your own accounting? And that way you can grow your business. Well, 2 years later, Randy went to the New England Culinary Institute up in Vermont, and is 1 year into the program up there, and he's finishing his accounting major. Okay. But he had people attack his core. Not meant to hurt him, but his parents wondering, you want to be a chef? There's no money in that. It's not stable. Why don't you go work at Food Lion, okay, and work your way up the ranks? That's crushing a person's core. And you are going to need to be strong as you get older, because your parents are your strongest influence. My father was my strongest influence. And when I was 16 years old, he said to me, I remember it was a Thursday night at 7:30, he was just about to watch MASH. And he said to me, what do you want to be? And I said, I want to be a teacher. And his response is, why would you want to do that? And his viewpoint was a good viewpoint. It wasn't that he was attacking it. I took it as an attack. Because I was 16, I didn't know what he meant. He wanted me to make money. He expected me to produce what he produced. We started low income, and he rose up the ranks. But that's not what I wanted to do. And for 10 years, I did what he wanted me to do. I became a CPA. I went to law school. It wasn't my thing. I did it well, partly or mainly to make him proud, and because I try to do things well. But for 10 years, like Craig up in New York. Craig, by the way, are you able to see us okay on the webcam? Are we pretty clear?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Perfect picture.
Just checking, because sometimes when I'm teaching through video, my students don't really give me a clue as to what's going on.
You're coming in clear.
They think they can sneak things by, like when Thomas is texting underneath the desk, he doesn't think I can see that. That kind of thing. But when my father asked that question, for 10 years thereafter, it ate at me that I was doing things, yes, to make him proud. Yes, in part I liked them, but they weren't my thing. So I had an anger built up inside of me. How did I get it out? By going to the gym every day. And by doubling down. Once I realized I was made to be a teacher. I may not be the best, but it's something I love to do and want to get better at. So I worked awfully hard during the late 90s when I was in my late 20s. I taught at 4 colleges while working 60 hours a week at Fidelity Investments and getting my LLM degree in banking and finance law. Also, I can send a signal to academic institutions. I'm for real. I didn't get a PhD. I was a non-traditional academic. And I wanted to show them I love to teach. But that wasn't good enough. I had to love to do research too. So I had to combine both. I spent all those years, and then I wondered, well, if I studied to be a teacher first, straight up, would I be where I am now? And that's where faith comes into play, and we're going to talk about that later. Okay? But if it wasn't for my father pushing me and me wanting to make him proud, I wouldn't have done all these things, been an attorney for Price Waterhouse, and worked for Fidelity as a risk manager, and then taught at all those schools so that I could become better at what I do here. So at the end of the day, it was well worth it. Well worth it. But that's not what I want you to go through. I want you to figure out what you're passionate about now, because you need to make C equal P. Your core has to equal your passion. Who you are as a person inside has to correlate, just like with Randy. Okay? That is very, very critical. Let me give you another example. And I won't state her name. A student sent me an email the other day. You have mentioned many times that you agree with my decision to go to law school. Can I ask why specifically? Now, I don't promote law school because we have too many lawyers, but we don't have enough good ones that do it with passion. And she said, I was reading over the LSAT prep book, and the test is a very logical test. And then she continued on. So I wrote to her, my agreement with your decision to go to law school is based on several aspects of you that I have learned. You have solid logical and analytical reasoning, the cornerstone of being a good attorney and being happy in life as well. Your writing skills are very sharp. You express yourself well. You are very driven and self-motivated. And you can achieve any goal you set for yourself, which is a unique characteristic on this earth in this given day and age. In sum, you have the key ingredients to excel in law school or in any other endeavor. And oops, I wrote any other endeavor, so she writes an email. You mentioned that law school, as well as other options, is a strong match for who I am. What other options are you referring to? Sorry if this is me overanalyzing your email. She's terrified because she wants to make sure that the next step is the right step. She's not overanalyzing. She's doing exactly what we want her to do here, is dig down deep into her core. And that's what you all need to do. Another example. Student was a biology major, and I had the pleasure of teaching biotechnology for one day with one of my favorite professors in the biology department. And this student, he liked biology, but it wasn't enough. So we got to talking, and I gave him some ideas. And one of the ideas was, you know, you could take biology, and if you combined it with business, you can ultimately become a CEO in a biotechnology company. Because in this day and age, most CEOs in a biotechnology company are just scientists. And they fail in their job because they're not able to run the business and run the finance side of it. Well, he's well on his way to getting a master's degree. And last week, he submitted an assignment to me in the graduate program. It's one of the best I've ever seen. And in the beginning of the semester, he wasn't quite producing the